Hi everyone, how are you doing? Shalom, 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 and Shabbat shalom to all of my Yisrael people, my Yisrael family, as we all journey on the path together, returning to Yahuwah's right ruling and right guard, and keeping the covenant and keeping the commands. And one of the commands I want to look at today, that we see very rampant in the world today, is that command about intermarriage, because sometimes it comes off like, as black women, we're either being angry or malicious or something, and it's black men towards even black women dating white men. It's like, well, why you had to go out there, why you had to do that. But there's so much deeper roots to that feeling that we have initially, because it's almost like it's ingrained in us to know that this intermingling and intermarriage isn't right. And I know this might come off different to different people, and I'm not trying to intimidate anyone or trying to bash anyone. I'm just speaking from the scriptures, and I'm speaking from what I've read and what Yah has allowed me to come on here and express. So I'm going to go through a few scriptures that clearly states that we should not intermarry and not intermingle with other peoples, because it causes us to not know ourselves. It causes us to stray away from that which Yah has provided for us. His laws, his commands, his right rulings, the offerings, coming to his Kadash Mishkan temple. And unless, sojourners, strangers, unless they have really taken up the oath of Yah and decided wholeheartedly to be in covenant with him, it's clearly written that we should not mingle or intermingle with or intermarry with other people from other lands, especially not in the lands where we're slaves, or where we're being burdened, because this causes us to stray from our ways. And it's, if you take a minute to just let all that seep in, you kind of start to realize, and you say, yeah, that sounds kind of right. And I think it's just a sitting in our soul where we know the right rules and the right commands without even having them written. Like in Noah and Abraham's time, they didn't have written laws, but they still knew. They had the spirit of Yah always with them, and that wisdom and understanding guiding them. So it's rooted deeply in us. So when Messiah came and wrote down, like literally giving us written words to go by, it was almost like a second to what we innately know. But Yah is like, okay, I'm gonna write it down for you and make sure it's in my temple. So when you come and do your offerings, and when you come and lay down your transgressions, that you remember these words, these rulings, these commands that I've set for us to keep in covenant with each other. I with you, and you with me. This is the the decree of Yah. And so the rulings are there for a reason. And so it's found in Deuteronomy 7. You can go ahead and go read that. He says clearly that when you get into these lands that are not of you, that you're passing through to get into the land that I'm giving you, that I'm returning you to, you don't intermarry with these people. You don't give your daughters to their sons, and you don't give your sons to their daughters, lest they make them stray away and serve other people, other gods, other whatever they serve, other masters. And what do we see in the world today? So much of that dispersion of Yisrael. Not only just through dispersing us because of what was done to Yahushua, but also this watering down and dispersion within ourselves because we're choosing to go after other masters and other gods who don't come before Yah. Yah comes before everyone. He's the creator of heaven and earth, of the Shayamim, of Yacherez. They should be coming to you. Should be we are an example for what other peoples on the earth should do and be. So when you give your daughter, give your son to one of these tribes, they're kind of mixed in, and then they get kind of confused, and then they're like, oh well, I'm married to this one, so I gotta observe this and I gotta observe that. It's the same. It's that thing we're talking about, the watering down, the dispersion. And so you can understand why it's so right for Yah to say, do not intermarry your people with other peoples. You are my chosen. You are not to be intermingled or intermarried with any other peoples. This is in Deuteronomy. And even when you go into Ezra, he speaks of it again. When he tore out his hair, he tore his garments and threw his face down at Yah in the temple and said, oh, we have so greatly went against you, because here are my people, especially the leaders, it said, who were going against the word and intermingling and intermarrying with others that were not of their people, that were not of Yah. And he threw himself down and did not eat for days. And Yisrael, he prayed to Yah and spoke openly, and the rest of the tribes heard, and they came and they wept, and they came at the feet of Yah and put down their transgressions. And they all came to the elders, group by group, all those who transgressed and had wives outside and children outside, came and put their face to Yah so he could rule what is right for each of them. And so why go through all of that when you already know the rule and the rights of Yah? Just follow his word. Do not intermingle and do not intermarry. I'm not saying that you cannot talk and be friends and hold word with people of other lands, especially people who recognize Yah as the one and only great I am, as Elohim, as Yahuwah, El Shaddai, the Almighty, above all. That's perfectly fine. We can rap and talk and sing praise and worship all day. But even they aren't welcome in the temple of Yah. They stay outside because Yah has his Kadosh people. And we have to start remembering who we are. And stop letting the world tell you that you're at the bottom and you have to go and mingle with so-and-so and do so-and-so to level up. You are the level up. That is why they're tricking you into intermarrying with their people, because they know that you are the rule, that you are the right and Kadash people of Yah. Do not be fooled. Do not let them trick you. Do not let them wear you out and down with their words. Read the word of Yah. Get in the scriptures and listen to what he's saying to you. In Deuteronomy 7, Ezra, and there's another book. It's coming from me now. In Ruth, you see where Ruth was a woman of Moab, but she was married into a Yisra'el tribe, but her heart was of Yah. And so, I'm not saying like it doesn't happen, but the circumstances she came to Yah, right? It's not like, they go out and they say, oh, you go and marry that person. You send your child off, and they're so confused because they're under the rule of Yah, but this person that they've married is under a different rule. You've now split and watered down your inheritance of Yah and to Yah. So let's be more cognizant on, this whole marrying and, who we seek as partners and all of this for ourselves and for our children. It's so important as we come through this time now where Yah is calling back his children, calling back his servants, calling Israel, all of us, calling us back to him. This is the time to be aware, to be true and right with the word, and to just make sure that whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying, whatever you're manifesting is in the right ruling way of Yah, is in the rightness of him. So his esteem can be over you and filled up in you, and his favor and his face turned to you. Do not turn away from the word of Yah. So go check it out. Deuteronomy 7. Ezra is a short book. It's closer to I think it's Ezra 10 or so, 9 or 10, where he starts where he tore out his hair. It was so funny. He tore out his hair and tore his garments. When they tear their garments, or when we used to tear our garments, it was to kind of say something is wrong. Like, you're tearing a garment and saying, yeah, look at me, come to me, I'm sorry. Coming down on their knees and bringing his head down. He wouldn't even lift his head because the people transgressed. So this was after they had gone away from Yah, and we were slaves in Babel, and people started coming out of Babel and returning to Jerusalem, which is what's going to happen again. And here, he's like, what? We built the temple, we're doing our offerings, and you still have this in and around us? There's still transgression, there's still, uncleanness. And he couldn't even lift his head to Yah because he was so ashamed. And the people heard, and they were ashamed, and they wept, and they brought their transgressions to Yah. They brought those wives and those children that they bore outside the tribes to Yah for him to for him to rightly rule what to be done. So just walk right. Do what is right. And this is not a bash to anyone. I'm just telling you what's in the script. If you're going to do it, make sure you got the word from Yah. Like Boaz. Boaz was a man of Israel. And Ruth, this is in the book of Ruth, and Ruth was a woman of Moab. She had been married into a Yisra'el tribe. All the men had died, and she was with her mother-in-law, and she was in the fields working and doing well, and was working for Yah. And she said, you look on a woman like me that is not from your tribe, and you put blessings on me. She said this to Boaz. And she said, Toda, thank you. Baruch, 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 be Yahuwah. So you see, her heart was turned to Yah, is already of Yah. So there's no straying in that. And even with that, Boaz turned to Yah before he even married her or tried to conceive. He turned to Yah and said, is this right in your eyes? And Yah gave him the go-ahead. And Yah gave him the go-ahead to conceive a son. That lineage eventually led to David, a great king and a great follower of Yah's word. Amazing. When you do right by Yah, he does right by you. That's the moral of the story. Do right by Yah, and he'll do right by you. So give me your feedback. Let me know what you think about this intermarrying, intermingling, and yeah, feel free to comment. This is something that has been on my mind for a little while, so I had asked Father to just reveal, this understanding to me, and here we go. He brings it forward. He brought me right to the book of actually Esther first, Hadassah, and then I moved into Ezra, and then it just brought back all these words from Deuteronomy when he said we should not intermingle or intermarry with people in the lands, especially those that we're passing through, and especially those that we're captives in. So, blessings, Baruch, 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 and Shabbat Shalom. A lovely day to everyone. Keep that meditation strong and keep with Yah's word. Shalom, shalom, shalom.